Gemeinsam hören, rätseln und lösen ist das Motto der neuen Audio-Mystery-Reihe Echoes, bei der die Spieler über den Hörsinn in mysteriöse Fälle eintauchen und mithilfe einer interaktiven App Fälle rekonstruieren und lösen. Ich habe heute die beiden Spiel-Erfinder Matthew Dunstan und Dave Neal neben mir und freue mich, den beiden ein paar Fragen zu stellen. So first of all, thank you for taking part in our Ravensburger Lunch and Play event today and for taking time to answer some questions. You also had a long journey to come here. Matthew, you're originally from Australia, now live in the Czech Republic, and Dave, you live in England, right?
Yeah.
So how come that you two designed Echoes together?
Well, we both were based in Cambridge and met at the same playtest group, which Matt set up originally about 10 years ago or something.
Yeah, 12 years ago.
And so we met there, yeah, and I was testing narrative games, and Matt came up with the original spark of the idea for this game based around sound. So because he knew I had experience with narrative games, he approached me and we ended up developing it together.
And where did the idea and inspiration for Echoes come from, and especially for the stories behind the cases?
Well, I guess before the stories, the thing was there was a thing called Museum in a Box, which was for museums. It was a small wooden box which had a chip which you would put objects on it, and it would play sounds related to that object. And so I sort of thought, oh, well, that's great for museum objects, but there's a really great game there. And actually, that kind of spark of having objects tell you stories or give you sounds is what Echoes is. And then I think once I had that idea, I knew with Dave's sort of expertise in sort of storytelling and narratives, and then I think we kind of split up the task. Like I think Dave
to some extent, yeah, and then we kind of came back and interwove. Yeah, it's kind of like getting a starting point for the stories and then kind of looking at each other's and editing them. But I think we both kind of wanted to think of some ideas that were not just like another crime mystery, but more something else, like a mystery, but you know, like with the microchip, it's the mystery of what caused the apocalypse. And I'm like, I don't know any other mystery crime games out there that are about what caused the apocalypse. So, and then this kind of mystery ghost story in the dancer. So we were kind of thinking of, I guess, different ways of approaching the whole mystery genre in terms of stories, and it was just very much kind of keep sort of iterative kind of approach of what ideas are new. This could work. This could work. This could work until you know find something.
And what works with sound? You know,
yes, the sound. Actually,
how can you have a key element that seems natural in a setting and is an interesting puzzle? And so in the cocktail you have the drinks and things like this. So the dancer, you have tap dancing, and
yeah.
How can you weave that in with the mechanisms again?
Which was quite hard for the microchip actually, because we were doing we thought it was a cool idea for a mystery of post-apocalyptic, and then we realised it.
What's the typical post-apocalyptic sounds?
The sounds that are for the future, because it's futuristic, and it was like, but in the future, as we're going through time, like objects, everything's going digital, and digital things don't make sounds, and it was quite difficult, but we got, I think, especially in collaboration with the design team, development team, it came out really well.
Yeah, I also heard with the design of the cards, like how
you
design the cards. Yeah.
They have to be recognisable, but futuristic.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was.
All right. Dave, we also heard it before. You're not only a game designer, but also a researcher and consultant in psychology of play and learning, and you wrote about why we all need to play in crisis. Could you briefly explain why it's important to play in times like this?
Yeah. It's with play, you often get this people's original impression of it as something that isn't inappropriate for a crisis or for kind of anything serious, and sometimes that is true, but a lot of the time it actually is really helpful in kind of crisis situations and difficult situations, partly in one respect because it's kind of a way of engaging with difficult and challenging topics in a kind of safe context, because you're playing, so you can kind of explore them and start to understand them to some extent in a way that you can't do with the real sort of tragedy or difficult thing that's going on around you. And then also it's just play just has a lot of positive things for our emotional state, our well-being, It gets us to bond with other people, which is incredibly useful and important in any kind of crisis or challenging situation. And I think it's had that role through, like, you know, for millennia through human history. It's like playful interactions have, I think, been incredibly important for people of all times and places to help them deal with some difficult stuff.
Back to Echoes. Matthew, what can we expect in the new case, The Ring?
Yes, it's we've gone from, we've had sort of olden time in the first two and in the future, and we're sort of much more recent times, slightly more maybe mundane sort of setting, a sort of family kind of almost drama between just two individuals and a very valuable ring that maybe has a bit of a mysterious past, and how that might impact upon their lives. So
might or might not be cursed. We don't.
Spoilers.
We don't know.
So I think we're looking forward to just exploring different worlds and different stories with life.
All right, we are all curious what's coming up next, I think. But now, hands on heart, which one of the cases is your favorite so far?
Which of your children do you like the best of?
Including the ring, maybe.
I think I'd have to say the dancer, actually.
I think possibly the dancer. When we had just finished writing them all, for me it was kind of the microchip, just because I liked the completely different thing of, like, the mystery about what caused the apocalypse. I don't know, and it's tough because we haven't experienced the microchip in English yet, so it's hard for me to know for sure. But yeah, I do still. I really like that.
I can agree. It's my favorite one as well. So thank you very much for this entertaining background information.
Pleasure, thank you.
Maybe see you soon.
Yes.